Okay, the unit came in an outer packaging with a lot of tape around it, and what I found inside was the original packaging from RSNAV. So inside we find a top box that holds all the harnesses. We can open that and pull out. So it's the main harness that intercepts between the unit and the RSNAV. That is the GPS antenna that you may want to install, actually have to install as well. If you use cellular, install the cellular antenna. And then below that, with actually pretty good foam padding, very strong foam padding, you find the display unit. I didn't see anything when I unwrapped it originally, so it has a dust cover over it. There seems to be even a foil on top of it. At this point I'm not removing it. We're first going to install it. So this is for a Q5 unit. I opted for the 10.1 unit simply because I'm used to the aspect ratio and it brings it closer to my use. So let's put it in. So we're now here in a Audi Q5 2013 with the MMI media unit installed, so not Symphony or Concert. We have to replace first the fascia, the cover plate of the display. We'll have to remove the vents. We will have to remove the climate control system, and in the end we also will have to remove the multimedia unit to get access to the backside wires where we intercept the audio connection, the CAN bus connection. We'll also have to remove later the glove box, but that is later down the road. Well, and I will just explain step by step while my trusted friend Audi will be watching us, and hopefully you have some information from that too. So the first thing we're going to do is to remove the cover plate of the display unit. It's held by 4 clips, 2 on each side in the back, and you use a prying tool, a trim removal tool, to get into the gaps here between and gently wedge it out. Side is out. And all it's holding right now is now the hazard control switch, which is a little bit tricky to remove. I will show you in the next. I will try to zoom in a bit. So that thing has a little clip here and maybe a little bit tight to get out, but you need to press down the latch to unlock it, and then you wedge it out. And that's basically we'll get the first piece out. Okay, next step would be now to remove the air vents. The air vents are held by 2 clips on this side, and on this side, one top and bottom. There are little 3 snapping clips positions on the side where the key goes in. There are actually hook holes for a pull removal tool, but you could as well also use the wedge again. Just be gentle to your trim, and so we can go in here. Just got it out here. Try a bit on this side. Okay, and here you will hear the little snips. Yeah, exactly. So once we have that, we can gently move that out. Your bottom top clips may hold it back. So these are the metal clips that are connecting it. And there is 1 wire coming in for the illumination if you have that. That wire needs to be removed up here, so it's hidden in behind the foam area here. And once you unplug that, again the little latch, we can pull that out below, and now we have the air vents removed. Okay, next up is the climate control. Again, the climate control has access points for hooks if you have the pull tool, but you can also use the wedge on this level. Both of them are shown in the Volkswagen Audi system. Wedge on the left, wedge on the right, and the climate control system comes out. So disconnecting the HVAC control unit, the climate control unit may not be so important for you. You may still be able to work around it, but if you decide to do so, that these two connectors have security latches that need to be removed first. So there is an option to lift that up from both sides, and then you can, you see now it's lifted up, and then you can use your tool as well to pry in the latch. Now it's released and you can pull out your connector. So that's the first one. Same as with the second one. Lifting it up, releasing the main latch to be moved. And we have the control module removed. What you will need to slide the MMI unit out is one of those Volkswagen Audi keys that slide in small gaps on the bottom here. I'll have the motor on Amazon. They unfortunately do not come with the kit, so if you don't have them, look carefully where you have the little gap. It's not easy to see unless you're really looking flat into there's a top that you need to pay attention to. So it goes in like this. Once that is in, you can easily guide it out. From here we find a fleet of connectors on the back. So those connectors may be a little bit tricky because they're different than others too. To release these two, you press on the back and that releases the connection on front. So make sure to press it in all the way in the back to release that. So the next thing I wanted to show is how to remove the antenna. There is a small latch on the bottom here that needs to be released so that you can pull out the antenna plug. Same for the second one. If you don't look under there, you may not see that. Okay, next comes this big boy here that holds the entire wire harness, and that has a clip that needs to be a lift and pulled all the way out like this, and that disconnects the entire main unit. So this leaves us now two more cables to remove. The first one here, you press from this side in. There is this latch in between to release this connector, and here is one last one. Release from this side, and we're done. Okay, next we are removing the display, and for that you will need a torque 20 to remove those 4 screws. Make sure you do not want to lose them anywhere down abyss. Specifically this one in the corner. Now we lift the display out, and disconnect side latches here. The display unit here. Here again, one. Not easy to have the clip pressed at the same time when removing the. Now it comes. Alright, now it's the display unit. Okay, next we will need to remove the side panel here in the passenger door. Again, this is 3 clips with a trim removal tool. 3 clips, 1, 2, 3. Make sure that you don't have them damaged. And then we have a nut to remove here, 10mm nut. Okay. We hold on to that nut. And the side panel. We will have to remove screws down here. There is one. There is another one hidden here. There are 2 above here. These are these screws. 1 in the center and 2 on the right side. So, I have meanwhile removed all the 8 screws. We can actually close that thing again. But there are 2 more screws that need to be removed down here. You see one on this side and the other one back over there. Once we have those removed, the entire glove box will come down. Okay, so we have the bottom screws removed now, and we can gently pull that down. It's usually somewhere here. So the first connector that is important how to be removed is the main port that goes to the glove box, and you press the 2 pins from this side together, and then you can remove the clip to the inside, and that basically allows you now to remove the connector. So that is the clip cover. The next connector to be removed is here on the back. Clips on the side, both ends getting out here. And that's actually it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now that we have the glove box removed, we have access to the canvas and all the other connections we need to get in here. So for anyone who has seen the wiring diagram just as it's depicted in the manual and also visible online, it's a very generic diagram, even though it explains everything, how it comes together, but it may take you a while to quickly grab it. So let's look at the back of the unit. This is a 10.1. We have our main input for the unit as a white connector. That's this thing in the huge wire tree. The bypass for the head unit that is currently in the MMI system. So this has the connectors with the latch that we already saw that swings on the when we took the other one out. This is the CAN bus bypass. So that's what we need to pay attention that we don't have anything turned on, no ignition on. One is a USB port that is to be used later. You can route this to any area you want. I probably will move it also in the glove box because I'm not typically using a lot of USB devices. Then we have the audio connection. So this is the audio connection, a normal stereo pin. It goes right into the back of the unit, and from here it routes to a stereo input that should go over to your glove compartment, and there we will have a conversion kit depending on what you have. What else do we need? In my case, I do not need to connect any of the backup cameras or auxiliary cameras since I have a backup camera system already in place. This may be something you may not pick up quickly, but this goes on the back here and will connect to the hazard button that we will have, so the wire harness that goes that we disconnected originally from the hazard button. Then we have the wireless antenna. So this is the cellular signal going into the red port, and then the GPS antenna. Don't use the antenna you had in there. GPS antenna going into the blue port, and I think that's it on my unit. One more thing that we need to do before preparation is that in this case, for this unit, we need to remove these clamps from the original faceplate and then put them on the new unit. They are a little bit tricky to remove because they have literally small little thorns to hold on to the plastic. So I've figured that out to be fairly easy if you use a broader flatbed screwdriver and gently wiggle it from both sides. Get off the plastic. Okay, a little bit wiggling and you should get there. So I've got my 4 clips off here, and on is much easier. Just sliding them back on here. They're all snug in there. And with that, we can start going back inside the car and have fun. Okay, this is something I haven't shown before when I removed it, and I wish I would have found it somewhere on the net, a video on how to remove the speaker cover here, because I wanted to install the GPS antenna on this side and the cellular antenna, as I've seen this in another picture in one of the Audi sign posts. The challenge here is really that this seems very stuck, and you need to pry that out. And when you do this from this side and pry it out, it is so easy to get the underlaying bracket caught with it. So that happened to me, and I thought it was just stuck. And I read in another post that those are a bit strong. So the GPS antenna fits very well inside here. There is actually a little hole here that we can use to route the cable through, and it may be a bit tricky to find it here, but we definitely see that there is a gap. So the gap I just showed you is unfortunately not wide enough to fit the entire socket here, the cable plug through it. Would be nice if it would be only as wide as the back here. So unfortunately there is a way to do that. What you need to do is pry out this little clip here that holds the plug in the socket. Make sure that you do not lose that. And so once you have, see, that's the little bracket that holds it, and then you can gently wiggle it out, and now it will fit through. So now that I have it through, we just need to put it back together again. Direction is important. You need to press in the back. So here we go in. Still have my clip. I think there's a direction to that. There's a round side that goes to the bottom. So we'll keep that. Plug it back in. Voila! That's how we fit through. As you can see, I have taped the GPS antenna now to the side wall here in this vent. So what I made sure after I was done here, that I stuffed all the into the foam seal here back in. We don't want to have the air vent ventilate the entire rest of the dashboard, and you don't have any output on top of here. So I have the GPS antenna, the cellular antenna, both coming in here. I wrapped the additional cable in some padding so that nothing rattles later on. This is the connector for the light. Here we have the hazard switch that needs to be connected later. What we need to do now is come from this side with our main connector to the display unit, and this will require some careful wiggling coming up in the channel in the back, and you need to work from both, from here and from the side here, from the glove compartment that we removed. Okay, so let's get started. There is a hole in the back coming up here behind the what we will have finished back here later is just a big harness that goes in the back of the MMI unit. Put the stuff in. It took quite a bit of trying and back and forth. The best way how I found out to route it through was starting with the main connector, then pulling slowly through all the little individual lines that came after it, and then working on the main filter to come along the back, while the second filter box, or the bypass filter, stays below there with the other unit. I have left the audio cable that then goes over to the connector still in the center console. That's what I will have to reroute now, and what I started to already move out of my way here was the CAN bus interface. There's one more item left to do that we have to connect before we can plug in our display unit, and that's the hazard switch. So the hazard switch is connected to the original plug. Make sure that the connection is tight, and then we need to bring it out to the back on the other side of our unit. So that's about it. Okay, since I will not use any of the input ports for the cameras or for the speakers, I just pack them away that they are not rattling when they're behind the unit. So we could start all over here on the end with the hazard switch. It goes in here. Make sure that it's tight and clicks. Okay. Next, we could connect our GPS antenna. Make sure that we have that lined up correctly. We want to connect the cellular antenna. Okay. The audio connector is in this unit right above here. And last but not least, our main connector on the top. Okay, the one thing I forgot to mention on the outside, and what could be a little bit difficult to read, is that we actually have to connect this display connector from the original MMI system. The only thing that is not used is the wider black connector, the 8-pin connector. It states it correctly. I was just not reading carefully enough to also connect this one. This is the diagram where I went wrong. More specifically here on this note where it says for 3G MMI 8-pin black connector is no longer used. I thought the 3G MMI is no longer used, and not only the 8-pin black connector. So the 3G MMI is still used. That's what I had to connect here again. Everything stuffed in, nicely stuffed in. And let's see if it fits. Should just snap back in. Here we go. Huh. Guess what we forgot? This little boy has a connection up behind the display. Oh, when you replace your unit, make sure that the washers are all the way correct on here, on both sides. One small hole coming through here. Okay, there we go. And let's tuck it away again. It snaps on this side. This is good. Okay. Good. Back. So let's wrap up at the lower end here. First I want to reroute the two cables that came down from the head unit. One is the audio cable that we still need to bring back over, and as per the instruction you should not go close by to the CAN bus, so we stay below here. We come the inner loop down here. Same I will do with the USB cable that I will just leave in the glove box for me to use later. And so these two are now done. So next we need to connect the MMI interface intercept. Make sure that the clamp is open when we try to move that over. Looks connected everywhere. Something in my way. Okay. That was this one. Let's open this connector. Should be lined up. No, am I getting there? There was an antenna board on this side. Maybe the two antennae here. Almost forgot one. The connector for the buttons that I have under my unit. It needs to go in the back here. Okay. Now we're about ready to slide in. Hopefully everything fits. So what I did notice, if it doesn't go in easily all the way, I wouldn't just squeeze on and press it. There is one of the boxes on the bypass that needs to be out of your way, and you can easily get in here, and then we should be able to should have removed this before. So now that is fine. So what we have left to do here is get the stereo audio connected to the adapter that we got with our package, and then connect temporarily to our glove box outlet. Right now I haven't finished installing it back, Should be just one direction how this thing fits in. And that should be enough for us to test the unit. Okay, let's go. Has it switch? Has light? Here we go. Vorsprung durch Technik. Ha. All right. See if the controls work. Do. Great. That's it. Seems like we have a winner.